Hi everyone, today I will present the impact of barter trade in southern Philippines and Malaysia to trading relations in Bimbiaga, or the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area. The objectives for these studies are to document the history and nature of barter trade in two countries, southern Philippines and Malaysia, or the Sabah region particularly, to identify activities implemented in the barter trade zone, the Executive Order Number 64 or the revival of Mindanao barter, the formal and informal actors, the barter trade route, process, and demand. And third is to assess the impact of barter trade in Bimbiaga, connectivity through master plan on ASEAN connectivity or the MPAC connectivity, and the empowerment of the local people and businesses through community-based ecotourism or the CIBE. First things first, let's go to the history of the barter trade. Barter trade is an informal cross-border trade in the maritime zone. It has been here or been doing since the pre-colonial era in the 1500s and prior to the declaration of independence and legal borders between the two countries, Malaysia and Philippines, in the mid-20th century. The system has evolved over time, now using money in exchange of goods, but the term barter trade is still used to highlight the informality of buying and selling untaxed imported items and the vital role of traders and transporters in moving these goods across the maritime borders. It is an ancient form of trade practiced by many nations and cultures long ago, but barter continued to thrive and evolve as a living tradition in Mindanao and the larger eastern portion of Southeast Asia, or the Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area. The Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area, or the BIMPIAGA, is a cooperation initiative established in 1994 to spur development in remote and less developed areas in the four participating Southeast Asian countries. Through BIMPIAGA, the four countries aim to achieve balanced and inclusive growth, regional economic integration in ASEAN community, boosted trade, tourism, and investments through easy movement of people, goods, and services across borders, maximizing full potential and advantages of common infrastructure and natural resources and economic complementation. So there are two goals of the Bimbiaga. The first one is the short to medium term goal, which is the economic integration of the sub-region through increased intra-IAGA, trade, tourism, and investment. The second one is a long-term goal, or the change the economy from resource extraction to value-added processing and non-resource-based activity. And there are two actors involved in the Bimbiaga: the private sector or the MSMEs, which mobilizes trade and investments, and the public sector, which is the government itself, the national and LGUs, which provides conducive policy and regulatory environment for these MSMEs to be promoted. They also facilitate private sector economic initiatives. Okay. The Executive Order Number 64 in the Philippines is signed in October 2018, which revives barter in Mindanao and mandated the creation of Mindanao Barter Council. It is currently being revived, the barter system in Mindanao, on three areas: the Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi, or the Basulta areas in the Philippines. They have two goals. One is to provide more livelihood and income to small coastal communities, especially in Sulu and Tawi-Tawi. And the second one is to support halal industry promotion, particularly the processed food, which has the highest potential to be promoted from both Filipinos and Malaysians. Both countries also pledged to participate in strengthening the Bimbiaga. So let's go down to the formal actors. The first actor, the formal one, is the Mindanao Barter Council or the MBC. Its mandate is to supervise, coordinate, and harmonize policies and programs concerning barter in the southern Philippines. Its deliverables comprise of a comprehensive guidelines governing barter, including mechanism to determine how goods are to be valued and accreditation of qualified barter traders. It consists of the following: the Department of Trade and Industry as the chairperson, the Secretary of the Department of Trade and Industry, the Bureau of Customs Commissioner as the vice chairperson, the Minda chair, and other representatives from various agencies including Department of Finance, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Bangsamoro Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao, Maritime Industry Authority, Philippine Coast Guard, and Philippine Ports Authority. There are three ports that are currently legal for barter trading activities: the Siasi and Jolo in Sulu and the Bugao in Tawi-Tawi. Barter ports can be put up anywhere else as long as it's approved by the president. There are no taxes for some barter goods except for the rice, corn, and sugar, and they will be all exempted from duties following ASEAN Free Trade Areas Agreement and ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, or the ATIGA. However, there are also informal actors and factors for the barter trade. After all, barter trade is still an informal practice. As in the words of Assistant Secretary Montenegro of the Mindanao Development Authority, we have no way of knowing how much volume of goods will be coming in, how much in terms of values are they pumping into the local economy, because there have been no system in place as of the moment. And that is exactly the design of the Barter Trade Office. Barter trade had been going on for several centuries, but today is informal. Barter Trade Executive Order is to assist them to facilitate their gradual transition from informal trading to formal trading and mainstreaming them into our economic setup, because right now they are part of the shadow economy. In fact, there are no data on the actual number of cross-border traders in the Sulu archipelago. In 2016, in the Department of Trade and Industry, 461 are registered in the Sulu archipelago, but they are only 39% of the total MSME traders in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. Now let's proceed to the barter trade route. So as you can see, this map is from the Asia Foundation. There are two types of route in the barter. One is informal, which are usually taken by the unregistered boats or vehicles going from Zamboanga City to Sandakan in the Sabah region. And the other one is the formal trade, or the dotted one. So for the formal trade, there are three ways. The first one is, if you're a small-time trader, you will ride a steel ship, the MV Doña Antonia, via an overnight trip from Zamboanga to Sandakan in Sabah, Malaysia. The second one is, if you're a woman importing garments and other non-perishable products, you have to take an airplane from Kota Kinabalu and other airports in Sabah, transferring in Manila, because it offers greater security and less prone to disruption. But if you're a big-time trader with operator-owned wooden hulled lansa, you will have to take a 2-week journey from Zamboanga City to Sabah, and you will pass by Jolo, Sulu, and Bongao, Tawi-Tawi with multiple stopovers. For the barter process, it begins with the traders itself. So some barter traders, they have enough money to capitalize and hire a boat going to Sabah. But for the majority of the barter traders, the small-time traders, they have to pull over money in order to charter a boat going to Sabah. In order to do so, they have to borrow money from their relatives, or they have to take creditors or local cooperatives. And some women even pawn their jewelry just to pull money going to Sabah. And then they will go to the broker and consolidator, who will make the purchase order for them back in Sabah. And when the purchase order has been done, they will talk to the boat operator. The boat operator will arrange their travel documents going to Sabah. And then they will pass by the security agents in the Philippines going out and in Malaysia going in. So in the Sabah, Malaysia, they will have to receive the stamp before they will be able to transact with the buyers and suppliers. So usually in Sabah, Malaysia, the barter traders will buy essential goods such as the rice, corn, fuel from Sabah. And they usually sell tausug clothing and garments and also South Sea pearls. They also sell medicines for the Sabah Filipino workers as well as local wines and perfumes. Now that the boat is loaded, they will go back to the Philippine waters. But now they will be met with more restrictive rules and treatment by the security agents in the Philippines, as now they're carrying goods that are considered as smuggled by some. So they have to hire a loader or a fixer so to ensure that their boats will not be confiscated, including the goods inside it. Once it's negotiated, they will pass by the port operators, and the port operators, once the port operators approve their passage, the laborers can get the goods inside the ship and they will bring it to the truck. And the truck will travel to the warehouse, and from the warehouse, they will sell it to the wholesalers, to the retailers, and then to the consumers. Why is there a high demand of Sabah products in the borderline communities in Sulu? The first reason is proximity. Sulu Islands to North Borneo provides easy access to quality consumer goods at cheaper prices. For example, the rice and gasoline in Sabah is 50% cheaper than the products here in the Philippines. The other reason is the availability. Short supply of goods coming in from the mainland Mindanao island itself hardly reaches the small islands in Tawi-Tawi. So almost 90% supply of rice, sugar, flour, cooking oil, and fuel comes from Sabah. And the third reason is preference. Majority of the islanders in Tawi-Tawi are Muslim. And right now, not all locally made products are halal certified. And has been a growing concern among the Muslim groups, especially here in Mindanao. Currently, the Department of Trade and Industry established the halal section in order to facilitate more promotion of the Philippine-made halal products. But right now, it is still currently on process. The wooden-hulled Landsat ships have also at times been barred from the Malaysian waters due to concerns around their safety in open waters, and they lack the modern communication systems. So Filipino traders lobbied with the Bimpiaga, which resulted to the relaxation of this restriction of the wooden ships and other conventional sized boats by the Mindanao Development Agency, as long as they are registered with the Philippine Maritime Industry Authority or the Marina. However, there's still a lot to be done because there's still 7 out of 10 unregistered ships as of the moment in the province. The creation of the new Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao could improve the conditions around barter trade by formalizing the historical and cultural practice and reducing the fragility in those local communities. And now let's proceed to the impact of barter trade in the Bimpiaga. In terms of connectivity in the Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity, the Bimpiaga Vision on 2025 created the economic corridors, two economic corridors which are designed as priorities for development. The first one is the West Borneo Economic Corridor, and the other is the Greater Sulu-Sulawesi Corridor. The coverage of participating Bimpiaga provinces in the priority corridors will be expanded, and most programs and projects in 2017 to 2025 will be concentrated on those two corridors. So what are those two corridors? Specifically, West Borneo Economic Corridor is more on the area of Malaysia, and the development strategy is oil and gas, light manufacturing, palm oil, wood-based processing tourism. It is also potential financial hub. For the Greater Sulu-Sulawesi Corridor, it is more on Philippine side, the Palawan to Sabah, Zamboanga, Basilan, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Davao del Sur, General Santos City to North Sulawesi. And these will be developed as the Maritime Corridor, the center for the barter trade in the Bimpiaga, with advanced agriculture and aquaculture trade. Transport connectivity is port-to-port trade flows and shipping services. Another project is the capacity building of customs, immigrations, quarantine, and security officials. So there have been 300 local CIQS officials who received training, and various diagnostic studies, situation analysis, and time-release studies were conducted that provided basis for streamlining and simplifying processes that in turn led to better operational performance. Another project is the empowerment of the local people and businesses through community-based ecotourism, or the CIBET. In 2008, the Bimpiaga countries agreed to prioritize community-based ecotourism for poverty alleviation as the main focus of the tourism development. The vision of the CIBET strategy is to make Bimpiaga a globally competitive, well-developed, and connected multi-country ecotourism destination, with circuits and sites where communities are able to enjoy socioeconomic benefit through participation in CIBET activities. So right now, for CIBET, pilot studies have been made to the 4 countries in Bimpiaga, and it was finished in 2011. For the final part, the lessons learned following the Bimpiaga activities that was mentioned. The first one is there should be more consistent and focused government intervention, because there's still lack of adequate physical infrastructure and policy and regulatory environment for public and private partnership in relevant projects in Bimpiaga. The second one is private sector is crucial to the success of the sub-regional cooperation, as more than 90% of the sub-region's private sector belong in the small and medium-sized enterprise in SME category. The third one is there is an important role of the LGUs, as those LGUs provide a conducive business environment for the MSMEs. The fourth one is a strong sub-regional secretariat is needed. BIMP-FC was already created in 2002 to provide coordinated functions across the different sub-regional institutions. The fifth is there should be institutional links to the ASEAN Secretariat. So right now, Bimpiaga is working closely with the BMFC, the Regional Secretariat, in order to align its project to the ASEAN Economic Community and Master Plan on ASEAN Connectivity.